York City at the top of the hour, every weekday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Fourth French presents discussion, debate, commentaries on social, political issues, current events, sports, entertainment, religion, education, science, and every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. for a full presentation on controversial issues such as war on blacks, are Republicans dumber than Democrats? Information which might irritate you, make you cry, make you laugh, but above all, will make you smarter. Join us every time. It is the right thing to do. It is the only way to keep your sanity in a world of chaos, hypocrisy, immorality, and deception. Welcome to Common Sense. Donald Trump is wrong to call the media the enemy of the people. Throughout history, dictators, authoritarians have always tried to delegitimize the media in order to get away with corruption, scandal, and yes, even abuses. Adolf Hitler did exactly the same thing in 1933, accusing the media of fabrication. Journalists are not in the business of fairness. Our business, our only business, is to be objective. It is our duty to hold Trump and every administration accountable. Today, it is urgent. It is necessary. It is critical. Our very freedom depends on it. Hello everyone, I am MD and this is the Fourth French program, the place for common sense. This is the last segment of the program for the day. And in this segment, we will cover in the news. What's in the news? What's making the news? What's important? Well, of course, it's relative, but we have come up with a number of items that's in the news, and we will present them to you as element issues that may be of interest to you. So let's get started. Number one, we have Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually is in the news. Actually that's a misnomer. When is Donald Trump never not in the news? Well, there are two principal reasons we put Donald Trump in the news today. One, it's because that's the day that the court will be hearing argument from Donald Trump legal team to either throw away the subpoena that Democrat Congress in Congress tried to subpoena his tax information, his business tax information. And the second aspect of their argument is to try to delay that. It looks like the judge, I believe it's a judge from the district, District of Columbia? Not certain anymore, but the judge actually did propose today, this morning at 11 o'clock, to hear argument from both sides as from the Trump legal team as to why they should, the court should throw away the subpoena, or if not, to delay the subpoena in order for the legal team to prepare. So not sure if the judge will go along with that, but that's where it stands at this point. The second person we would like to talk about is that gentleman, Robert Kraft. Now, you may remember, he's on the screen. Robert Kraft is the Patriot owner. Now, he was involved in some sort of sex scandal. Now, not because he, as an old man, had something to do with soliciting sex, but rather because it looks like it's a little bit more, it's almost like it's more criminal than that, because he was accused of either promoting or being part of a sex ring, meaning, although not personally, I suppose, but promote the idea of having young girls being abducted, and for people like him to be pleasured. Now, the law enforcement was in the case, wanted to make the video public. Well, he tried his best, but again, in America, the justice system only works when you don't have money. So the judge has I don't know in which other venue, in which other circumstance where the accused would have been a regular individual and the judge would have prevented the video from being shown publicly. Well, that's what money does, buys justice, if we can so call it. So Robert Kraft is not going to be put through the humiliation of, well, you heard it correctly, his crime. Don't you wish you had as much money as Robert Kraft? Well, now let's move on to the next piece of news. Actually, I don't know if that should be considered news or entertainment. In Canada, an apartment with 2-bedroom was alerted by authority to have some weird smell, and when the animal control visited the place, they realized that they need help because there were more than 300 cats in that place. So needless to tell you, nothing was said about the individual who actually had those cats, but all of them were removed, and animal rescues, and some of them were put for adoption. And what exactly was going on with that person's mind, who knows? To have 300 cats, it's no small feat. In fact, animal control is very surprised that all of the cats are actually in healthy condition. So the owner must have felt that maybe he or she saw Catwoman, the movie, and thought by surrounding himself or herself with cats would become the cat person. Who knows? Anyway, those cats are safely now in the hands of animal control. Tiger Woods is actually in hot water. The parents of a gentleman that was killed, they suing Tiger Woods for what they call a wrongful death. And they say that was a 24-year-old bartender who was killed driving his 1999 Chevrolet Corvette. When autopsy was done, they found that he had more than he had at least 0.28 level of blood alcohol level concentration, and they say that 3 times the legal limit. What does Tiger Woods have to do with that? Well, it so happened that he is the owner of the restaurant where the gentleman by the name of Nicholas Amidst Burger. Quite an interesting name for someone working at a restaurant. His last name is Amidst Burger. Berger, maybe. Anyway, he was killed, and his parents are suing Tiger Woods so far for an undisclosed sum of money. Now, the interesting part of the lawsuit is the fact that, well, Tiger Woods is actually directly being sued, individually liable according to the lawsuit, individually liable in this action. Tiger Woods was not there when it happened, but it's his restaurant, and I'm assuming, of course, a lawsuit that involves celebrities that have money usually attracts a lot of attention in terms of lawsuits. So, for all purpose of the lawsuit, if you think about it, yes, as to why Tiger Woods would be responsible for it. Did Tiger Woods entice the bartender to drink? Did Tiger Woods encourage him? Of course, the detail will come out as this conversation continue about whether Tiger Woods would even be considered liable for the death of Nicholas Amidst Burger. Mayor de Blasio is actually in the news, not because he has announced that he's running for president, although that also is in the work, but he is in the news because his administration just passed a climate change bill, and which will fine companies that are not compliant with the greenhouse gas emission law. And according, of course, Mayor de Blasio is making a lot of noise for no reason really, because the bill itself will not become effective until, listen to this, until 2015. But Mayor de Blasio went on the bullhorn and telling Donald Trump to clean your act or pay a fee. Now, it sounds like it's something that's imminent, that's pending, and of course, Mayor de Blasio already gave the numbers as to what the Trump are building, which, according to this report, he has 8 buildings in New York City, and according to the report, if all of those buildings, which are currently not in compliance, if all of those buildings were to be are not in compliance by the time, although the bill, well, according to the report, although this bill, this law will come into effect in 2050, but it looks like those fines would kick in 2030. Although it's still quite a few years in the future. I think it's 11 years from today. But nevertheless, Mayor de Blasio is making a lot of fuss about it. According to him, if Donald Trump doesn't make any kind of move to make sure that his building become compliant in 2030, in year 2030, Mayor Donald Trump rather would start owing $2.1 million in fine every year. So we'll see whether Donald Trump will answer, since he always does. Now, Vladimir Putin is receiving the visit of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. According to the report, Mike Pompeo heading to Moscow in order to normalize relationship between Washington and the Kremlin. At least that's what they say. Nowadays, it is difficult to even put your hand around around those things because it looks like the Trump administration lives under a complete umbrella, complete clouds of collaboration with foreign enemies and so on, while they trying to cozy up to Vladimir Putin, cozy up to dictators in general. Now, other head of state, other country that that could have benefit of relationship with the United States, they're simply ignoring it. They're completely ignoring those countries, which is mind-boggling if anybody is watching the common sense approach, and you cannot but know that our country is in really serious problem, and we need to make certain that 2020 put an end to this problem that our country is now facing. Now, some news that's not American, that's rather coming out of Venezuela. It looks like we're not sure whether the United States was involved or not, but there was a plot to get rid of Maduro. Maduro is the current president of Venezuela. He replaced Hugo Chavez. Everyone recalls that Hugo Chavez, despite the fact that he was not liked by the United States, but the people in Venezuela did overwhelmingly like Hugo Chavez. But Maduro, for some reason, having been on by the side of Hugo Chavez, did not seem to be able to do anything right. And in fact, since Maduro has been president, he has been he has been an embattled president that he's been assailed almost on all sides. And in fact, just recently there was a coup to get rid of him. Now, something interesting about Venezuela, because you may recall that when Hugo Chavez was president, there was also a coup that the Bush administration that gave blessing to, and quickly recognized the individual who was going to replace Hugo Chavez, but the coup didn't alone, and of course Hugo Chavez was back in his seat. Now, as far as Maduro, it looks like its history repeats itself. The way that was going to happen is the gentleman you're currently looking at. Now, Maduro happened to be this gentleman who is talking to one of the armed forces personnel in his administration. Now, the gentleman you're looking at, he is a chief justice in Venezuela. Now, as chief justice, of course, he has power, just like here in the United States. A chief justice has a lot of power over over our government. In fact, of the lawsuit that are currently ongoing in courts, they may all end up at the Supreme Court, in which case that the Supreme Court justices would rule as to what the next step is. Now, in Venezuela, it so happened the Chief Justice could, and it looks like that's what that guy was going to do. The Chief Justice could easily get render the administration of Maduro useless. Now, his name is Juan Guaido. He is the Chief Justice in Venezuela. So what he was going to do, he was going to actually I said that wrong. Juan Guaido rather is the gentleman that's supposedly going to replace Maduro, right? But that guy, his name is Michael Moreno. He is the Chief Justice of Venezuela. So what he was going to do, he was going to issue a decree that would make the Maduro government illegal. that's pretty interesting. He was going to make the Maduro government illegal, but here's the twist about this. At first, when Michael Moreno was contemplating the idea, he wanted to be the person who would have replaced Maduro. Now, after much back and forth conversation, I guess, with Juan Guaido, the individual that's currently the opposition party, who would, in all fairness, if Maduro fall, that's the person that will replace him. Juan Guaido didn't agree, and nobody agreed, so finally Moreno decided, all right, I'll do the job, and you guys will take care of the government. So Juan Guaido, Michael Moreno were to pass that decree, it would have made the Maduro government illegal, and that would give the military at that time a legitimate reason to side with Guaido. Now they say at the last minute, for some reason, he got cold feet and he pulled out. Now we don't know what's going to happen to him, because a number of other people that were involved, implicated, seem to be rounded up, and you already know what may come of those people. Now, in the meantime, Juan Guaido seems to be being very careful as to being snatched by the military, those who are still loyal to Maduro. So the United States could have been involved, because it was in the first place under Hugo Chavez, and Marco Rubio has been really a big proponent of getting rid of Maduro. He's been talking, he's been tweeting about it really almost non-stop. So my sense at this point is that Marco Rubio could be the individual who is the main individual that entrusted rather by Donald Trump to do whatever is necessary in order to get rid of Maduro. So of course history just repeated itself. The United States of America tried a coup against Hugo Chavez, failed, tried a coup, most likely, against Maduro, failed. What's next? Well, in the meantime, the people of Venezuela are, well, suffering, because it doesn't look like Maduro has the touch. It doesn't look like Maduro has the ability that Hugo Chavez had in order to calm the people, in order to change the predicament, in order to appease, in order to take care of the people. The currency of Venezuela has gone really way down because of the situation. The currency has been really completely devalued because of the situation of the inflation in Venezuela. Now, what would it become from a place where the leader, Hugo Chavez in that case, was well received, well revered, despite the fact that the United States didn't like him, to now a leader that everybody wants out? That was the news for today. We'll be right back. Thank you for spending the time with me. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. See you again tomorrow. That was an update through the prism of common sense. Join us again tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for a full presentation. I am MD, host of the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Send us comments, criticism, suggestion, or simply let us know how we're doing. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon. See you next time. The Fourth Branch podcast is brought to you in collaboration with the People Branch publication, which can be found on the People Branch website, located at peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org website, in which you will find a number of very interesting articles. My name is Mike Duchesne, MD for short. I hope you have a great afternoon or a great evening, whichever it happens to be. Hopefully you can join me again next time for another interesting episode of this podcast. That was the Fourth Branch, live from New York. Good day.